What up guys, and welcome to another Cardano NFT market update video. A video where I go over the biggest movers this week when it comes to volume in the space, as well as go over a little bit of the market health. Now, I want to apologize in the beginning of this video. My voice is a little bit graspy, whatever you want to call it. I am on the come down of some sort of flu or sickness-like behavior thing, majig, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to have an awesome video because it has been way too long since the last video. So yeah, let's get into it. First things first, guys, how does the overall market look like when it comes to the CNFT space? And to be honest, it's looking pretty strong. Most of the days, especially over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, have been over 1.5 million ADA in volume, which is a breath of fresh air compared to that 800,000, 700,000 range that we were seeing in the earlier parts of December. And it's kind of funny, it doesn't really seem like big numbers in my mind, but you can really notice the difference in the market and just how fluid things are, even with that little bit of a gap of, let's say, 500,000 ADA. So I like to see this, and I personally think this month in CNFTs is going to be a pretty insane month just because we have so many promising mints coming out, and whenever there's a promising mint, you're always going to have a lot of new liquidity or a lot of people buy those NFTs. I also quickly want to bring up Cardano as a crypto in general, right? It actually went on a massive run over the past couple of days, going up over 30%. I really like to see this. I have no idea how sustainable this is going to be, if it's going to go back down, if we're at the bottom. I have no idea. I don't really try to time those things too much, but it is so refreshing to not see us just go down and down and down and down. They must have heard Jellycubes is releasing soon, and now all of a sudden ADA is pumping. That's kind of my guess. But yeah, I like to see that. And even though I'm not super urgent or super rushing into ADA just going on this massive explosion, and I like accumulating right now, it is nice to get those little breaks of fresh air and not just repeatedly get beat down. As far as strategy goes, it's pretty much the same thing that I've been saying for a while. I'm not really risking a bunch of my money investing in these new plays or new opportunities and just holding them and hoping it's a 100x in a couple years. Instead, I'm getting into projects that are promising. Most of them I am flipping. I'm taking that money and I'm putting that towards things that I think are actually going to be here in a couple years when the market comes back. And if it's a project that really stands out or really is doing something different or special, kind of like Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe, in all honesty, then that's when I might swing around a month after the mint happens and start buying some of those up for a long-term play or simply a swing trade. But I don't personally feel comfortable holding a lot of these new mints and just hoping that some of them do well when they haven't really shown the track record yet. Now on to the biggest movers this week when it comes to volume. At number one, we have Oremob with nearly 1 million ADA worth of transactions, which is ridiculous. Number two is a new mint called The Working Dead, and they came in at 503,000 ADA in their first week, which is pretty impressive. We then have Cardano Crocs Club at number three, Earth Node at number four, Spacebudz coming in at number five. We have the Ape Society at six, followed by Chilled Kongs, Clay Nation by Claymates, and the Plushies at nine. And then lastly, to finish us off, we have the Cabins by Ape Society. The first project on the list is the Oremob, and this project has been killing it. If you watch my last video, which was somehow 3 weeks ago already, Oremob was at 500 ADA, and I was like, this is actually not a bad time to get into Oremob, and they finally blew up, not after that video per se, but sometime over the past couple weeks, right? Now, what's really interesting is they went all the way to 2,000 ADA, had some massive sales, and now they're kind of on this pullback down to 1,500 ADA with literally zero catalyst, guys. And I think the big thing is people are starting to realize that the art, the PFP, the generation of how they did this project is one of the best that I've ever seen, which was once again a comment I made early on. Just impressed with how they put things together. Now, is this a good price to get in? It's a little hot right now. I don't really like buying projects after they've gone on this massive run. It isn't at that 2,000, and I do expect a push back up and for it to eventually get past 2,000, but now I'm just staying a little bit distant. I did sell the majority of my Oremob on this past run up, and I do only have about 5 left, 3 elite and 2 masks, so they are pretty solid ones. Overall, I like the project. I think they're going to do well long term. It's a little hot right now, especially after this big pump, so I could see there being some other good plays, but I definitely can see this being a project long term that stays around and is actually sustainable in the different things that they're doing. Now, the next project here, and I'm just going to go rapid fire, guys, because to be honest, my throat is already hurting and I'm on number 2. But yeah, we're just gonna casually flow through this. Now, the next one here is The Working Dead, and they're currently at 109 ADA. I believe these guys minted for around 75 ADA, and they did something pretty unique where they stopped the mint. I think that they were trying to sell 6,666 of them, and then they just randomly paused the mint, and now, in the future, whoever owns these Working Dead, there's going to be some sort of whitelist with that where you're going to be able to lock in these Working Dead at 65 ADA. Now, I think the art is pretty cool. They kind of remind me of False Idols, where I got pretty burned on if you're a long-term subscriber. But yeah, it seems like they're doing a lot of the basic stuff. Supposedly, they're trying to make some sort of platform where people can post content and you can learn from and really build out that platform and incentivize it with their Dead token. Nothing too crazy. I know a couple other people like Newcast from Lovelace, Masked, and someone else that I can't state right now are trying to do something similar. So right now, I'm not investing in this project, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Next thing here, Cardano Crocs Club. Now, this project has been going on some massive swings, absolutely massive swings. One of the things that they are doing, which is pretty interesting, is that they're actually almost like buying out or taking over projects and trying to make them better. So for example, Nifty's is a project that they took on recently. They also have like Happy Tigers Society or Tiger Society, Happy Tigers, an OG project that had been kind of in the slumps for a while. And they also just recently launched Swamp Tanks, which is another project that is building in their whole entire ecosystem. So pretty cool stuff. I talked to Asung, who's kind of the main lead of the project now, a decent amount. And I do think that they're going to do some pretty cool stuff. The project is hot right now and there aren't a lot listed, so I don't know when is a great time to buy these. Maybe the radioactive Crocs are better, at least value-wise if you want to invest in the project, but definitely keep an eye on their whole entire ecosystem. Next thing here, the Earth node. Now, the Earth node is from World Mobile Token, and it's kind of a throwback here because I made a video on World Mobile Token months and months and months ago, like way earlier in my YouTube career where I didn't know where the heck I was doing. And it's interesting that these Earth nodes are finally out, and they pretty much represent the ownership of owning one of these Earth nodes. Now, if you don't know anything about World Mobile Token, and I've got to brush up on this, guys, I didn't have the time today, they're pretty much trying to connect the whole entire world with internet, especially. And they're doing this in Africa. I believe they've already had kind of like a pilot program in Tanzania. Really interesting stuff, though. And these Earth nodes are the operators of them and the stakers of these Earth nodes are going to be able to earn these WMT tokens for helping process these different network transactions and services for their customers that they're providing internet to and telecommunication stuff. So pretty interesting. I have to deep dive this and figure out how much money you can actually make from these different nodes. But just in this past week since they've launched, they have had insane sales of anywhere from 100,000 to 135,000 ADA. I have to run the numbers to see if this makes sense, but I do realize and recognize that if they're actually able to succeed at connecting a lot of Africa in these places without telecommunications and internet, especially emerging markets, and all of a sudden there's only 1,000 of these Earth nodes and you're making a bunch of money from all these transactions, could be something pretty insane here, especially when ADA is only 30 cents. Even if these are $30,000, $40,000, that might be a very small amount compared to the amount of money they can make with the service. But once again, I have to do more research, so don't just FOMO into it. Next thing here, Spacebudz. Now, Spacebudz have gone on a run from about 4,000 to 5,000 ADA. Same shit with Spacebudz, guys. It is literally the same thing. Nothing new has really happened. I think people are just starting to buy it. We know that their new art is coming soon. I'm sure that Alessandro has something crazy with these and that these are randomly going to blow up, but there's no real reason that these are going on a run. I think it's just because a lot of other projects in the space went on a run. I still don't own any of these Spacebudz right now, but if you're someone who's looking for just like a super safe and consistent play that isn't doing anything too crazy and will most likely be here in the future, then I think Spacebudz isn't a bad pick. Next thing here, Ape Society. Ape Society is going to be on the top 10 list every single time now, guys, okay? And they're going to be on the top 10. These guys are constantly doing a bunch of stuff. They have their launch pad, they have their token. Even if you want to get into the whole, oh, how sustainable is their token thing, I seriously think that Ape Society is going to be one of the top projects for a while on the chain, unless they pull a Frank from DGods and decide to hop onto Polygon or Ethereum or something like that, right? Impressed with how high their floor is and how well they've held it, even though their society token has dropped down to about 0.07 ADA right now, which is the lowest it's been in a while. They still get a lot of traction in their project and a lot of major sales. Next project here, the Chilled Kongs. Chilled Kongs have also gone on a run. I think they were at like 1400 ADA. They went all the way up to about 19, and now they're kind of chilling at 1700 ADA. They haven't announced anything recently besides having a stake pool. They're going to have their Nana token, which is not really a token. It's more of like almost like a loyalty point system. They're working on their garage. In reality, guys, I think it's just one of those things where we know that their mushroom drop is supposed to happen in Q1 of this year. And if that is supposed to happen, then we could see these go on a FOMO run right before their main release. Now, this is something that has been delayed so many times now, so I don't know if it's actually going to be releasing in Q1, but they sounded pretty confident about that. How much is it going to run leading up to that? I have no idea, but it was sitting at around 3,000 ADA, to 3,500 ADA at the peak of when all of this was going on. So I could potentially see those numbers again, but for me, it's a little bit risky. It's a little bit speculative. Next thing here is the Clay Nation, and I've been talking about how Clay Nation has supposed to launch their marketplace like 5 different times now as well, but it kept getting pushed back. And I believe that any time now, any day now, they're actually going to release this whole entire Clay marketplace. And because of that, Clay has been going on a little bit of a run. I'm mostly holding their tokens still. I think that this marketplace is finally going to give utility to their token. And now that there's going to be utility in their token and a lot more eyes on the Clay Nation ecosystem, I could see everything Clay going up over the next several months. This is a project, this is a group that I expect to actually be here in the long run. And a lot of the things that they do, even though it feels slow to us, is in the mindset of working and being sustainable in a good product for the long term. So I think this marketplace is most likely going to surprise a bunch of people. Maybe I've been overhyping it in my head, but regardless, we should see some additional utility from it, and that additional utility will hopefully be more eyes on the project. The next project on the list is another project that just minted this past week, and that's the Plushies. Now, the Plushies have already had 370,000 ADA worth of volume, but they are currently going under floor price. I do think that these look pretty unique. They look pretty cool. They have some personality to them, and the website looks solid. The team is doxed with us, but I don't see too much going on in their roadmap as of yet. Right now, they're talking about having some of these in real life mystery boxes and some stuff like that, but there's nothing that's really screaming at me that this is going to be a very special or very different project. On their roadmap, they do talk about having this phase 2 where we don't really have any information yet. And because of that, I'm not really buying in because I don't really like speculative buying, but maybe pay attention to what they announce in their phase 2. And if it's something cool or something interesting or something just unique versus the same 10 things that every single project does, then maybe it's a project to pay attention to. Number 10 on the list is the Cabins by the Ape Society. And this is pretty much the same thing as the regular Ape Society, right? Like whenever apes are doing well, cabins are going to do well. Whenever there's a lot of volume with apes, there's going to be a lot of volume with cabins. We can pretty much just throw them into the same box every single time. Outside of the top 10, there are a few more projects that I feel like are important to have on your radar. The first one being swamp tanks. Now, swamp tanks are a collection of these different tanks that you can actually play in their workable demo already and pretty much battle other tanks and go on other missions. And what's interesting about this project, guys, is that the Cardano Crocs Club team has pretty much stamped its brand on this project, and when they have their whole entire swamplands, this whole entire game or ecosystem is going to be in their sort of metaverse that they're building. They've also brought on Happy Tigers and Nifties, but this is one of the newer ones that hadn't launched yet and just launched yesterday. I did mint some of these and I'm just holding them for now. I haven't necessarily went out and bought some more, but because they are branded by CCC, I do think that they're going to put time into actually making this project successful, and they do have a decent amount of stuff completed, including that workable demo. Another project that should be on your radar are the Introverts. Now, Introverts I've made a play on a while ago now, back when they were down to about 200 ADA. And now they're finally coming out with their whole entire mobile application for projects sometime within the next 1 to 2 months. Projects, if they own enough of these Introverts and pay an ADA fee, are basically going to be able to have their own mobile app where you can see all of your Jellycubes, all of their stats, their points, the floor, as well as have other useful tools and services such as rating, which Mallard Order is doing very well for any project that has fulfilled these different requirements. On top of having that whole entire mobile application, which is going to force projects to basically sweep some of the floor for Introverts, they also have their artifacts coming soon and a plethora of other stuff. So I don't know if right now is like an amazing time to buy, but they definitely have a ton of stuff coming out soon and should be on your radar. Next thing here is Clumsy Ghost as well as their Clumsy Valley. And I've been buying and accumulating this project for a while now. Their whole entire land game, their land gamified staking lore thing was all supposed to come out in Q4 of last year, but they have had a slight delay with that, and it should come out sometime in this quarter, hopefully within the next 2 months here. I think when they release this game and people see how far along it is and how it's unique to a lot of other projects out there, we could see a lot more people buying and investing in these different Clumsy Ghosts. One thing I will say about this project is they don't do an incredible job at marketing or really having a ton of community engagement, but their whole entire game and gamified staking and all of their things is technically progressed a lot further than other projects, so I think it's worth having on your radar. Another thing to have on your radar is Metadams. We recently had Ben on from the team recently on a Discord VC call, and they were showing us some of the stuff that is going to happen in their whole entire Metadams world. I think the game is supposed to come out sometime within the next 2 months here, and they partnered with Tap Nation and have a ton of developers working on this project, as well as have secured the funding to really make this project last for like 2 years, I think, without them needing to sell anything else. They have these Prime Beavis, which are kind of like the playable PFP characters, but they also have this land, which is more so going to be used for the ADA rewards as well as their different token rewards. And as you can see, guys, they changed their website. They have all these different mini games that are already completed. You're going to be able to earn ADA. Super cool stuff, very well put together. And I expect as more people start to see and get the updates of this project that has been building for a while now, that we could have more investment or more liquidity flow into the project. Another thing that I wanted to bring up are the Pond Theta collection. Now, Lending Pond is releasing their V3 soon, and there's going to be a lot of additional updates in there, and a lot of these Lending Pond NFTs are actually going to get some pretty nice utilities when it comes to the different platforms. This is a collection that is over 3,000, but it got split up into almost like 3 different drops. The first drop was for 1,000 of their NFTs. It was for 500 ADA. Currently, they're going for about double that. Another 1,000 are being airdropped drop to their acronym DAO holders. That snapshot was taken on the 27th of December, and then that remaining 1,000 supply is supposed to release sometime in this next month. I don't know if it's going to be a one-to-one whitelist, which is what I would personally do, or if it's going to be a public drop. If it is a public drop, I would definitely mint the project. If it's a one-to-one whitelist, we could see some of these lending pond go on a run, but none of that is confirmed as of now. Last project here is obviously Jellycubes. I'm going to make a whole entire video detailing what's coming up for Jellycubes, but if you guys don't know yet, we're releasing our remaining half of 1,250 Jellycubes on the 14th of this month. It is a one-to-one whitelist mint, and that snapshot actually hasn't happened yet. So if you're watching this video, you're going to be able to buy these Jellycubes up until the 13th and be able to mint another Jellycube for a $200 US mint price, which is about like 600 to 650 ADA as of right now. A lot of different stuff is going to be announced with the project soon. Our lending is almost out. It's been taking a while, but like a lot of things, we just really want to make sure that we're doing it right. And we are excited to have this mint. And just so you know, guys, this is the final mint for Jellycubes. So if you're someone that bought a Jellycube and paper handed it, or you just haven't been in the project, whatever the case is, but you've been thinking about it, this is actually our last BIG membership mint that we're ever going to do. So after these Jellycubes go out, that will be the last opportunity for you to actually be part of this group in the long term. And I don't care if that's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, we will not be releasing more memberships to our overall group. But yeah, now that that warning's out of the way, that wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry that there were like a couple I wanted to do like a one rung thing, but I was like, I needed too much water. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry that it's been a while for a recent video. In all honesty, with the holidays and like the mint coming up and all of the stuff that I'm trying to constantly balance, it's been hard, but stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more content soon. And I'm hoping that sometime in this next week, I can finally make the video that goes over all of the projects that doxed on our site, as well as some upcoming mints and some other stuff. So if you enjoyed the video and like the content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon.